Welcome to a nutty adventure exploring personal growth and wellness, breaking down the stigma around mental health along the way. Let's dive in because now it's time to show me your nuts.
And it is Nutty Tuesday again. And today you get ready, get set, because we're going to go underneath it all. We're diving underneath the things because November is values. We are looking at values this month. And our values live under all the other stuff and things. It is one of the things that drives what our unconscious mind does. So we got to look at what's underneath it. And it may or may not be pretty. I am excited to see in the audience, although I am not surprised, Ollie says that drives him nuts. World's best punny pun master. Lives in Belgium. The world's nuttiest pun master. I'm just saying. And then there's Kansas City's best, the one and only Sang D. Good morning, Sang D. And I know that the infamous Jessica is lurking somewhere as well. So, are you guys ready to do this deep dive? Are you ready to uncover what's under our nuts? And yes, I did that on purpose. We need to uncover the things that we need to understand. We need to uncover and then understand what is underneath our thoughts and behaviors. So let me back up and go underneath this a little more. As a therapist of 25-ish years, I have done more cognitive behavioral therapy than Carter has pills. And then I found out why cognitive behavioral therapy has a lot of limitations. It's not the magic trick that it is purported to be. And that'll probably get me in trouble with somebody, but I don't care. Because I figured out that looking at your thoughts and your feelings without going underneath and looking at your values and beliefs doesn't get you anywhere. So I want you to think on that. Put a pin, put a nutty pen in that. Stick it over on the cork board over there on the wall. And we are going to do our new revised energy segment. So let's see. Our new energy segment is now and forevermore called How Charged Are Your Nuts Today? So on a scale of 1 acorn to 10 scurrying squirrels, yes, I said that, scurrying squirrels, can you identify how many of your core values can you identify consistently without thinking of them? And go. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many can you get? How many can you get quickly without thinking about it? And Jessica wants to choose squirrel number 4 and chase them. I was so surprised I figured you'd choose squirrel number 5 over there on that one. 'Cause he looks the most joyful. Where is 5? Ollie he says on a tree of 0 to 10, he's a 10 plus. You are correct, Sang-Di. There is no 5 there, and the numbers are all jacked. That's what happens when you create a new show video or a graphic literally 4 minutes before your show. However, Jessica's nuts are all in a bag where they're supposed to be, and all of the values are in the bag. Mine, I can always identify my absolute top one. Straight up, we talked about it last month. Ollie, I can't watch the comments. You guys are gonna get me in trouble. All right. I can identify 3. I know that the first one is integrity. Period, straight up, end of story. I can identify several others off the top of my head. But to be honest, I need to do some work on that one too. I need to go deep and finding out what the other 9 are, in what order, and keep them in front of me all the time so that I can focus on them. And so here's what I know about core values. Our core values drive everything we do. The top 5 or so don't morph and change as frequently as the rest of them might. You can move values from number 5 to number 3, number 4 to number 3. You can move them around. However, if you jack with the top one, if you mess with the first your top value, and I don't mean just what you think of off the top of your head. I mean, there's actually some cool exercises that you really need to work on and do to go deep and find out which ones are really in what order, which is how I know my number 1 is integrity. I just can't remember what the others are because I haven't reviewed my list in a long time. And that's bad squirrel. So you've got to figure out, go through the process and figure out what your top values are. Generally, you find out what the top 10 are. And then you may be looking at moving them around. And it's not a fancy tool, actually, saying it is a process that happens in the way that I've been taught to coach. And it's a fairly lengthy process. You would be surprised. It's not just look at this list and gather the values. There's about 4 exercises that I walk people through that take a good hour, maybe longer, to do just these top values and get them in the right order. There are also, yeah, I am the fancy tool. I am, but only as the fanciest when, excuse me while I get my props. I'm only the fanciest when I put my tiara on. I need to talk to somebody who has done pageants and learn how to put my tiara on the correct way. And of course, if you're going to be a tool, be a fancy one. So I am a tool. I'm a fancy tool today, and I'm good with that. I am absolutely good with that. you dive deep to get those top 10 values. And like I said, the top one, if you mess with it, if you try and move somebody's top value or change it, even at their request, and I can help people move their values. I've got tips and tricks in my toolbox that I can help people actually move them around when they're not in the place they want them to. However, I will not mess with somebody's top value, because if you've ever seen the movie Inside Out, the second one, remember the kind of the identity tube that they talk about Riley's core identity, and as she's a um, she's becoming a teenager, our core values are really built during that time frame. And once they're kind of in the right stack, they may not be in the right stack as teenagers. Absolutely, right? We've got a little more growth to go. But once they get in place, probably by the time you get through young adulthood, once they kind of get stacked in place and your core value, your number one, gets where it needs to be, you don't want to move it, because it's like breaking that tube of things, and the whole world comes crashing down, like in Inside Out. So I won't move somebody's top value around. I will help them move their others. So let's look at an example of what would happen why you would want to move a value, your core values, one of the others. Let's say, and why you would want to, and what that would look like. So I'm going to use a semi-personal example. It's based on what I've personally done. Is when I learned this technique, I was still struggling with the word exercise. I had kind of gotten, it was okay. It was starting to come out of my mouth, because at one point in time, I couldn't even say the word. True facts. But now, not only can I say the word exercise, I am putting things in place in life to do different exercise and things, physical activity that I've never done before. Some of it I've never done before. Who knew that going to physical therapy was actually going to a private training gym or something, with the physical terrorists. So I couldn't say the word exercise. But I also, at the same time, I wanted my health to be good. So my values were not in alignment with my goals. If your values are not in alignment with your goals, the likelihood of you reaching the goal that you're going for, kind of crappy. And so one thing I did know was that I couldn't just change my thoughts and feelings like cognitive behavioral therapy shows. I had to dig underneath, find out what my values and beliefs were, and make sure they were in congruence with the goal that I wanted to reach. So I did some work, and by work I mean neurolinguistic programming work on myself, and actually hired a peer to help me move my value for exercise and physical activity up higher than it was. Now, it didn't move into number one. Ain't nothing taking integrity's place. So don't even try. Not happening. But I moved it up from where it was. And sure as shit, what happened? I actually, within a month, less than a month of them helping me with that, I literally got on my treadmill and did 10 minutes a day for 90 days. Now, for some of you might go, oh yeah, you got on a treadmill, whatever. No, you don't get it. Squirrel here, the word exercise, didn't like it, couldn't say the word out of my mouth, and the most days I had ever done on a treadmill in a row were like 7, and that had been a couple months before that because I knew I wanted to change my behaviors. And I did like 6 and couldn't keep it up. I also, other times I had gone in spurts of, walking here, walking there, maybe doing the treadmill once, nothing for 50 some years. So what I did by hiring someone to help me rearrange those values, they literally helped me change from not having a habit to easily and effortlessly, because it was easily and effortless, put in place a habit of being on a treadmill every day for 90 days. The only thing that stopped that was a knee injury that happened, and I had to step away from the treadmill for a bit. Strangely, I missed it. I know, it was weird. It was really weird. But then, January 4th, I got on the treadmill again and did 166 days in a row. Now, the only thing that stopped that was aggravating the knee injury. So, yeah, I said I was in physical therapy. That's it right there. But guess what happened yesterday? I got on the treadmill again. And I'm not going to do every day yet. I'm doing what the physical therapist says to do. But that whole story is to show an example of what happens when you don't just change your thoughts and feelings and don't just put a goal out into the future. Because, newsflash, New Year's resolutions and affirmations don't work. They do not work unless you do these next 5 things in this order and continue to review them. And there are people who are going to argue with me because they say, oh, I've created this New Year's resolution and it worked. Maybe, but it only worked if you did these 5 things. And I'll tell you what they are after this.
Hi, I'm Margine Dugas. I co-host on Project Joy, and I would say what I'm most thankful for is my friends and family and being on the show.
This year, I am thankful for the lessons that have shaped me, the people who remind me of love, and the creative energy that flows through my everyday life.
I am Olivia Bunny, and this year I'm most thankful for the gift of life and music. This year, music has gotten me through so much, and it's just really shown me how important it is to be present. So that's what I'm thankful for this year.
I'm so grateful for all the people I've met through our show, my co-hosts who I find as my dear family, and the Breakthrough Show Network hosts and co-hosts, and Jessica Dugas, who makes it all possible.
My name is Leah. I'm a co-host on Project Joy, and I'm grateful for my family and joy this year.
And this year, I am most grateful for other human beings who allow me to be fully me.
For the amazing people that I'm surrounded with. I'm so thankful for the accountability, the people that show up even when it's challenging or not convenient, and the love that we share together.
And if that doesn't get you excited for the holiday, the idea of values and connection, ain't nothing gonna. Ain't nothing gonna. Thank you, Jessica. queen of video shorts for that one because, oh my gosh. And yes, of course, I was going to leave you with a cliffhanger. I'm trying to learn how to do that actually more and more. So the reason that New Year's resolutions and affirmations don't work is because you have to do these 5 things first. The first thing is take responsibility for your own shit. And I don't just mean responsibility for one action. I mean responsibility for every decision in your life, everything you've done in your life, even the stuff that you think was done because of someone else's choice or decision or someone else's thing. This actually goes deeper than it looks. And I'm just going to hint at that because we could do a whole show on how deep this one goes. The hint is that we make the decision to be in this life, doing the things we're doing, observing the things we're observing, being in the world we're in, interacting with the people we interact with. We planned all this shit. Therefore, we're responsible for making the choice to do the thing. Now, I realize that thinking about your worst day or the worst things that happened in your life, or even things that happen to children and to anybody that are horrific, and to be able to sit back and go, they actually are responsible for being in that. I know that is a mind F for people because the horrendous things shouldn't happen to anybody. I totally agree. So do not bash me on this one. Open your mind and think about the fact that even the most horrendous things that happen on this planet, in this life, in this way of being, even those horrid things, somehow we put ourselves here to experience that, to learn something. And you really have to shift your perspective and your overarching views of things to get your mind around this one. I get it. I get it. It took me a really long time, and it was gut-wrenching as a social worker who has seen the horrid. I've seen and read about things that other people can't even fathom. And I can't even talk about it. Not because I can't talk about it, but because that's someone's private information. We put ourselves here for the stuff. So if even if you can't figure out where your responsibility lies for you being responsible for your own shit, we can all go back to that point and go, I put myself here for it. That's where I'm responsible. So I know that one's hard. Now, it's not always just because you put yourself here. The responsibility go much deeper than that in many cases, because sometimes it's based on X happened, then you chose Y as a reaction, and you chose it willingly. You were like, oh, you're going to do what to me? Oh, here, hold my coffee. Let me show you what I'm going to do. And you make a very conscious, very in the moment, very knowing decision to choose a behavior, to do a thing. And that's the kind of responsibility we generally talk about, right? So the being responsible for your own shit can run that spectrum from making the decision to be in this lifetime and do the things, and not really understanding that in this life, because we come into the life and we forget the decisions we made to be here, which is why some of them are so horrid and it's hard to wrap your mind around it. But the other end of the spectrum is intentionally knowing what you're doing. Okay. So the first thing is you have to take responsibility for your own shit. The second thing is you have to get rid of the limiting beliefs, the negative emotions, and the baggage. Now, that's like at least 3 shows. And I work with clients to do that, and I do a 10 to 15 hour chunk of work with them, 10 of it within 24 hours, to help them go underneath and detach that stuff. This isn't just, oh, I'm going to think about this and it's going to be gone. There are processes to work with our unconscious mind to reprogram it. So I help people reprogram this thing so that they get rid of those limiting beliefs of I am not enough. I am I'm an imposter. I'm not worth it. I am whatever. I am blank negative thing here. Get rid of the negative emotions of anger, guilt, sadness, fear. I help them get rid of the baggage related to, my aunt's grandma's sister's cousin pissed me off at Thanksgiving one day or one year. Or my sister pulled my hair when I was 3 and, or in my brother's case, it would be my sister slammed my pinky in the door when I was 2. Yeah, I'm sorry, brother. I take full responsibility, but you were chasing my ass down the hallway. So there's that. And you play the meanest guitar ever because I slammed your pinky in the door. Just saying. Just saying, Scotty. Real incident. I don't have any baggage over it. Okay, that's maybe not quite the right response. I am continually taking responsibility for him playing the best guitar in the world. And for hurting my baby brother who but he was chasing me down the hall. So take responsibility for your shit. Get rid of your baggage, limiting beliefs, and negative emotions. Then and only then can you create that goal for your future and put that out there of what you want to do. And then you need to make it a SMART goal: specific, measurable, achievable, reasonable, and time limited. Then the hard part starts. The first 3 I help people with. The last 2 I walk alongside you and I can help you with, but you got to do them you got to do you, boo. I can't do those for you. And I don't do the other for you, but I help guide you heavily in those first 3. The fourth one is taking action. And it's consistent, specific, meaningful toward the goal. Take action. It's not necessarily easy. It's easier after you've gotten rid of all the shit, for sure. Getting on that treadmill and doing 90 days was so much easier to take action after I'd gotten rid of the limiting beliefs and baggage about exercise. And after I'd taken responsibility for the fact that I wasn't doing it and why and all that. So taking action is the fourth one. And then maintaining focus. And many of us, when we put habits in, maintaining focus is the hard part. So how did I go from doing random days of exercise to doing 90 in a row if it weren't for some powerful processes that helped get me there? And part of the process of taking responsibility for your own shit and getting rid of the baggage had to do with identifying my core values, what order they are in, and making sure I understood those. And then we were able to move exercise up. so that it would drive my future actions. So I get that this has been a rant today. Been on doing a rant. Let's maybe chill some things out and listen to a quick commercial about this amazing network that other breakthroughs happen every moment on.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Okay, I finally breathed. Did you breathe during that? I realized in that commercial, in that segment rather, about the Breakthrough Show Network, how many of the network's values are sprinkled in that particular video. And that's significant to me. You know, you heard me say in the gratitude piece that I'm grateful for people who allow me to be me. And oh boy, you know, anybody who comes here and watches Show Me Your Nuts every week, you guys allow me to be me. But this show is in this space on purpose. It's not just here just because it was a random place to put the show. It's here very much on purpose that I saw somewhere that aligned with my values of connection, values of joy, values of gratitude, values of human beings. If you guys did not watch 2D last week, God, I'm losing time. 2D, the one that became 3D with Sang D, Veron D, and Jessica D. Go back and watch it. If you can't find it, it's in the show notes. Breakthrough Show Network. Go find Beyond 2D. And look for the episode on October 21st. Because the human beings, actually, that wasn't the one with the human beings, now that I think about it. I know that I see one of the D's in the chat. Maybe she'll tell me which D that one was, where they talked about being human beings. Or maybe it was that. I've had a kind of weird spiky fever after my flu shot last week, and then I had and I've slept since then. So yeah, squirrel's memory's not always good. At least for things like that. But human beings being human for each other huge connection, reverberation, frequency toward my values. So, and there are the last 2 episodes and 3 more to go, Jessica said. So look in the show notes for this show, find the Breakthrough Show Network link, and go find Beyond 2D, because the last 2 episodes have been fire. And I don't even know, like, the last 3 are probably gonna blow the whole world up. That's just my suspicion. One of these days, maybe we'll have to turn Show Me Your Nuts D somehow. I'll have to add seats and we could like have a whole panel of D in here. D in the nuts. And Jessica's dad is on next Tuesday. I don't know that I don't know if I know Dad. I've never that's going to be fun to watch. And I believe that well, next week will be Veterans Day, which is going to be important. And maybe I'll have to figure out how to weave in some more salute to those who serve us, because service to other human beings in whatever way is one, especially when it is done selflessly, when you serve other humans to protect and take care of and do things for the other human, just to do the things for the other human, or because you believe they are valuable, is a sacred obligation, in my opinion. I don't know if everybody thinks of that, but and I count people who do service, the things that the people think about, obviously military service. And my grandpa, who you guys have heard me talk about, World War II veteran, served in China, Burma, and India, helped airplanes fly over what they call the hump. He was an airplane mechanic. I value and respect and am so grateful for his service. Here we go with values again. Value, respect, and gratitude for his service being another value, and family. And Pappy, I miss you every day. Miss you every day. You taught me a lot, and you gave me many of my core values. You helped me know what they are. We've got other people who are veterans, and get ready for War and Peace with Jessica's dad, who's a veteran, Farron's a veteran, and she being a veteran's daughter. And it's going to be a good one. Ollie's grandfather was deported in World War II. So World War II had a lot of impacts on people that I don't know that humans that are alive and walking on the planet today, even ones who heard the stories and knew the things, and some were born right after the war, some of them don't remember that. They don't remember the things that happened, remember why they happened, and remember my grandparents' generation, the greatest generation, who said we need to not forget, because think about the sacrifice they made so that we could live in a world that didn't have those negative issues. The sacrifices they made for us to live the life we have been able to live up through at least a certain date or so. The life we expected to live our whole life. And that's all the farther I'll go into that. But we need to think about that. We need to think about what they gave up, and how are we honoring them or not by not continuing to walk their walk for them, especially those that aren't here anymore. I'm walking for my great-grandfather, who taught me many things, and I was only 5 years old when he passed, for my grandpa, for many of my ancestors. I'm walking lots of walks for all of them. And I know many people are, but we need to think about that. Those walks need to align with our values. So our core values, I'm going to just kind of bring us back around. And let's look at, what did our core values impact the decisions we make, the behaviors we do, the thought. Well, let me rewind again. This is a live show, folks. This is what happens when you're on a live show. Our core values are building blocks that then build our beliefs. Beliefs are not facts, by the way, folks. Beliefs are not facts. They are different than facts. Opinions are also not facts, and opinions are not always beliefs either. So you have values that are building blocks that build your beliefs. And those two things need to be congruent with each other. Otherwise, you've got this fighting set of squirrels underneath all your shit that cause your thoughts and feelings that come out afterwards to not be real good. And if your thoughts and feelings, whichever way they come out, feelings and then thoughts, if your values and beliefs are not in congruence and they're fighting each other, the thoughts or the feelings that come out, and the thoughts that come out, and then the behaviors that happen because of those thoughts and feelings, the actions that happen, are likely to be detrimental somewhere, because you've got those two squirrels fighting underneath. However, if your values, if you understand what they are, and then you also align those with your beliefs and they're aligned, then your feelings that you have and the thoughts you have and then the actions you have are congruent and aligned, and they flow. See what I did there? And if your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions flow, then the results of your actions are more likely to be positive. Not always, but that also has to do with each individual. And we are all individuals walking together on this big rock, hurtling through space. So we have to understand and remember that, and understand, remember, and respect each other human beings' right to hold differing values, differing beliefs, differing thoughts, differing feelings, differing actions. Now, that's not carte blanche permission to harm other people, because I still believe that do no harm should be like the only rule. We call it the golden rule. If we're going to call it the golden rule, let's follow it that way. So the respect is still underneath all the things. Although there we go with another value word. So I'm going to give everybody homework for next week. Are you ready? You ready for some homework? Firstly, so I forgot that one had music over it. I was going to talk right over it. No, that didn't happen. So firstly, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell other people about Show Me Your Nuts. Tell them what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Send them the link. Say, hey, go over and give Stacy trouble during the show. However you want to do it. But that's not the homework. The homework, the challenge, if you will, The mission, should you choose to accept it, is to go over and check out my Big 7 course. It's a free course. Go over and check out the Big 7 Challenges course. It has within it a miniature version of values exploration. And it can help you, walk through that. So here's a little bit more about that course, and take a screenshot first. Make sure you've got the thing. Then I'm going to play a little clip about it so that you know a little bit more about it. And then I'll put the link on the bottom of the screen. So you'll have all the ways to find out more. Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure how to move forward? It might be time to unlock your true potential and overcome the challenges that have been holding you back. I have a self-paced course, Unlock Your Potential, Navigating the Big 7 Challenges, that was built for individuals who are ready to create meaningful change in their lives. It focuses on the most common personal development roadblocks: burnout, fear of change, poor communication, tech overwhelm, limiting beliefs, lack of self-care, and disconnection from core values. Inside the course, you'll explore practical tools to recognize and recover from burnout by identifying energy drains and establishing personal boundaries. Through strategic balance plans, you'll also build healthier rhythms in your day-to-day life. I get it, change can be difficult, but you'll learn how to move through the transitions with confidence by cultivating adaptability, resilience, and a growth mindset. The exercises guide you to expand your comfort zone while learning from setbacks. Mental wellness takes center stage with mindfulness practices and self-care strategies. You'll learn to regulate emotions, be more present, and nurture your inner calm, all while discovering ways to care for yourself. Clear, confident communication is the key to strong relationships. You'll gain skills like active listening, using I statements, and building trust. These lessons help connect more deeply with those around you while expressing yourself with clarity and empathy. So, yes, we live in a digital world, but that doesn't mean that it has to run our lives. This course actually helps you set healthy tech boundaries while you're boosting productivity through mindful technology use and taking control of your time again with planning tools and a digital declutter strategy. Self-doubt and limiting beliefs often lurk in the background of our thoughts. In this course, you'll learn how to identify and challenge those beliefs, rewriting them into empowering affirmations that support your goals. And you'll learn confidence rituals and journaling to support your growth forward. Finally, the course will help you reconnect with what truly matters. By discovering your core values and aligning your actions with them, you begin to live with more authenticity, more purpose, and find more peace. This isn't just about learning, it's about transformation. Every lesson includes a practical exercise designed to help you move from awareness to action. From personal strategy, energy audits, to creating authenticity action plans, you'll walk away with a toolkit that you can use for life. Now it's time to invest in yourself. But did I mention the most important part? This course is completely free. Free! So begin your journey now towards greater clarity, resilience, and purpose. Sign up today at stacybraiuca.com/UYP and take your first step towards unlocking the future that's waiting just for you. Okay, so I had to laugh knowing that number one, it talked about affirmations before it talked about values. And yes, you can rewrite things into affirmations, and affirmations are not bad things. They just don't always work unless you do the other things first. And then I was giggling. Jessica's going to love this. One of Jessica's favorite words, authenticity, is sprinkled throughout. And there are reasons for that, but I had to giggle at it after our conversation a couple weeks ago about authenticity. Oh, that was good. So I do want to highlight one of your comments, Jessica, because that's the walk we take to determine if our values are aligned, if the other person's values are aligned with ours. Not to just adopt somebody else's values, but because we respected them as a person. And, you know, Jessica can drop a mic without being on stage, without being on the show. She can just, and it goes through the floor, through the basement, and like almost to China. This life is an active learning scenario. And it's the walk we get to take by, we've put ourselves here to do the things, to learn the lessons. And it's not always the things we come into the world with, it's to learn the things. And learning is messy. It's not all kinds of wine and roses. We start by not knowing the stuff and we go through things to learn the stuff, whatever that is. And sometimes it's learning, it might be learning what our own values are. It might be learning what others are so that we can respect them as a human being. It might be also to learn what another value might be. And it's not to adopt somebody's values. You don't just adopt somebody's values just to go, hey, I'm going to adopt theirs because they have the same color hair as I do. It's, I see how they put that value in action. I like how they did this. I see the congruence of their values and their beliefs and then their actions. I want to be like that. I want to emulate that. We put ourselves here in the families we do probably to learn the things from them. And to learn from, not just the older generations, but we put ourselves in as parents and aunties and uncles and such to learn from the kids that were around. Because I guarantee there's many lessons we can learn from the children's. We just need to listen to them and watch them and be curious and learn. And it's one of the, I think one of the biggest lessons we put ourselves here to do is to learn how to respect others, even though we may hold two different thoughts, feelings, ideas, beliefs, behaviors, values, everything, all the things. And boom, here she goes. In my head again. Thank you. I think it is important to check our values through lots of filters, and this is a great one. Does this value still stand if someone has a different value than I do? So does my value still stand if somebody else has a different value than I do, or does theirs stand? And how do and how can both values stand in this world together? How do we, how and to try and put ourselves in the place of, I don't quite understand this other value or thing, but I can put myself in as much in the experience of it to try and understand where it came from, how it is, why it is, to try and understand it in the context it comes from, such that I understand that other person better. And then of course, the question is, what does respect mean? And I don't know, but there's this show that once in a while I watch called Beyond 2D, and they take words and break them down and dive deeply into them. I don't know for sure if they've ever done the word respect, but I'm going to have to go look now. Thank you so much. There goes my afternoon. Thank you so much, Jessica. There goes my afternoon. And I will take your question and raise you with the challenge of, if Beyond 2D has not dove into the word respect, then I double dog dare y'all too. I don't have a D in my last name, but I double dog dare the 2D to go into the word respect for a month. I think you should do it or a whole series. And maybe I'll do a month on that at the same time. We can compare notes. I want to know if the answer is, did you do a show on it yet? I know how y'all roll and like how you probably would deal with it, but I also want to say, I want to see the episode. So as I'm laughing at laughter, humor, and love, but also there's this really cool congruence that happens in the shows here, and I'm kind of noting that to show you guys the atmosphere in which we live. Is the answer would say on the show is that we all process respect differently. And I would take that one step further and say we all process everything differently. Each of us processes things differently, and perception is reality. Each of us have a perception of the world, of things, and each of those is a reality, and each of those realities is valid. And so to say our core value is respect actually only means something to us. Our core values actually only mean something to us anyway. Like anything in our head only means something to us. It can't mean anything. It can't mean the same thing to another human because they're not in here. And believe me, y'all don't want to be in here because, yeah. I'm called the Squirrel Wrangler for lots of reasons, not the least of which is we all have lots of these, but mine are extremely passionate, special, and of late rambunctious in the middle of the night. Menopausal squirrels. I'm hashtag. Woo! I just got a new one. Menopausal squirrels. I'm writing that one. Menopausal squirrels. It's a thing. I don't know. So Jessica says they talked about it, but it wasn't a 4-part series. So I dropped the gauntlet. You guys do one, I'll do one maybe. Menopausal squirrels. New hashtag. I think that's a good place to leave us for the week. But let's look at next week first, real quick. What are we going to do next week? Next week, we're going to dive into values again. And of course, I do not have my current show note handy. I'm going to go look in a different place because I want to find out what I was doing. Next week is, are you aligned? We're going to dive deeper into aligning our actions with values. And because it's Veterans Day, we're gonna let's just take the subject we alluded to earlier a little deeper. Let's talk war and peace a little bit from the squirrel perspective, from the aligning actions and values perspective, and see how well the squirrels align with the Beyond 2D. We won't know until they're both over because these are live shows, baby. We do it all live. We do it live here. And you never know what's going to come out, how it's going to work. But it's always real. It's always real. I'll use that word instead of the A word. I think that's where I'll leave things for the day. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this deep dive about values. Was it making your squirrels nuts? Was it making you think about things? Was it making you appreciate your values more? Was it making you appreciate other people's values more? Or think about how they interact? Give me some more feedback, especially if you're watching this on the replay. Because even though we're live, we have the replay and we have shorts that come out in between the shows. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being nutty with me. And thank you for being the humans you are on the other side of this computer screen. I'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us on this nutty adventure. Remember, personal growth and wellness are journeys best taken together. Keep exploring, keep growing, and don't forget to show me your nuts next time.